All right, let's look into this week's game a little deeper. But from the Cleveland side of things, it's our outside view today. Mary Kay Cabot covers the Browns, Cleveland.com, longtime Browns beat out there, where, of course, I got to be honest, a lot of people don't think this Browns team is very good. I'm sure the people out there concur, but you got a lot of people worried here in Philadelphia. Should Eagles fans be concerned this week? Is this a sneaky matchup for the Eagles?
I actually think it could be. I mean, I've been having a little bit of a hard time trying to pick this game, and I haven't even really settled upon what exactly I think is going to happen, and here's why. Because if RG3 has the time, he has some weapons this year. He's got Gary Barnes, the Pro Bowl tight end, who can always seem to get open no matter what's happening. Then he's got Terrell Pryor, who had a really nice preseason, and those two connected very well. And he's a nice big 6'5", almost 6'6" target. You've got Corey Coleman. Now, he's still coming around, but, if Corey puts his game together in time for this weekend, he can make a little noise out there, too. And then Duke Johnson is a little bit of a force coming out of the backfield. And then, Robert himself running, throwing. So if he has the time to work his game, they actually could be onto a little bit of something here. But, then you look at the other side of the ball, and you see what, Jim Schwartz is going to do, and you see Fletcher Cox, and you see that defensive front, and you know what the game plan is going to be. And, and then that makes me think, I don't know if he's going to be able to do what he wants to do this Sunday.
Let me get your opinion then of Robert, because we saw a lot of him 5 times here in Philadelphia when when he was with the Redskins. But the last time the Eagles played Robert, they bottled him up pretty well and really gave him problems on that Chip Kelly debut. Does he seem healthy? Does he seem like he is reinvigorated, I guess you could ask?
Oh, definitely. He's both of those things. He's very, very healthy. He looks good running around. He is rejuvenated. He's excited. He's ready to go. I think he looks very, very happy. He seems to me to be beaming. They really believe in him. In fact, just today, Sashi Brown, their head of football operations, talked about, we're going to give him time. Let's be fair to Robert. We need to build around him, but this isn't just going to be a 2-year thing. I think they're pretty invested in him as their quarterback of the future. Now, is it premature to say that? When we asked Pep Hamilton, the top offensive assistant, about that a little bit later in the day, he said, well, let's wait and see what happens on Sunday. So he's not really wanting to put the cart before the horse here. But it'll be very, very interesting. RG, has spent time with Tom House out in L.A. He's worked on his mechanics. They're giving him a running game. They're doing everything they can to help him be successful.
So much so that they elected to trade out of that pick, right? I mean, they believed enough in RG3 that they were willing to pass on both Jared Goff and their opponent on Sunday, Carson Wentz.
Yeah, now Jared, they didn't really have much of an opportunity because when the Rams traded up to number 1, that took Jared out of the mix for them. But they did absolutely pass on Carson Wentz at number 2, I think in large part because they were putting their eggs in Robert Griffin III's basket. And Hugh Jackson really thinks the world of him. So does Pep Hamilton. They're very excited about him. And, they think they can get him back to that 2012 sort of level.
We're talking with Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns beat reporter from Cleveland.com. And Mary Kay, we mentioned some of the Browns' strengths. What are some of their weaknesses that maybe the Eagles can exploit?
Well, they have some new guys along the offensive line that are coming around. But Cam Irving, their center, he's brand new. This will be his first NFL start at center. And, knowing Jim Schwartz over the years, and he was here in Cleveland for a while, not necessarily as a coach, more of in the scouting realm, but just, playing against his defenses and his teams over the years, that he's going to exploit that matchup and try to, I would guess, send Fletcher Cox right up the middle until Cam Irving can prove that he can stop that and get the ball snapped and all that sort of thing. He's only started 5 games at center his whole entire college career, and therefore, in preseason, he was sailing some shotgun snaps over RG's head. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen when he gets that middle pressure. They also have a new right tackle. And there were times in the preseason where there were some protection breakdowns along the line, not necessarily just from the offensive line, but different places along the offense. So that's one thing I'm sure that they'll look to exploit. Then you move over to the other side of the ball, and the Browns have a lot of new guys on defense. Lots and lots of new guys, young guys, 3 new starters in the defensive backfield, a new starting cornerback in Jamar Taylor opposite Joe Hayden, 2 new safeties. Although they have some experience, they've got good playing experience. They're brand new starters. And then a lot of new guys along that defensive front, including 2 rookie outside linebackers.
Well, one of the things we've been tracking out here, Mary Kay, is Lane Johnson and his potential suspension. But I know there are a couple suspensions for the Browns that may have an impact on the game. Why don't you tell us about those?
Well, it's their best offensive player and one of their best defensive players, really. Josh Gordon, he's a force and he's a weapon, and it would really help RG3, obviously, to have him in these first 4 games. But he's out with a substance abuse suspension. Armani Bryant, performance-enhancing drugs violation. He's out for 4 games, and he's one of their best stackers, one of their best pass rushers. They really don't have an experienced pass rusher on this defense right now. There's nobody with very many sacks. They've got Nate Orchard, the only offensive line outside linebacker with any sacks at all, and he has a total of 3. So they're a little bit challenged there, but they're young and they're hungry. You've got guys like Carl Nassib. He was out of Penn State, drafted in the 3rd round, and he wants to get to the quarterback. And he's got a very, very high motor, and he's quick, he's fast, he's explosive, and he's somebody that I think he's been flashing in preseason, somebody that, that you might have to watch out for. I do think, obviously, they're going to try to rattle, confuse, and go after a rookie quarterback, and I'm very anxious to see what Carson Wentz can do against this defense.
Mary Kay Cabot's with us, Cleveland.com. Yesterday, Sal Palantonio told us he thinks that Doug Peterson is the right coach at the right time for the Eagles. Would you feel that way about Hugh Jackson coming into Cleveland?
Well, it seems like it so far. I mean, you never really know until they get rolling, and you see how it all plays out on the field, and you see how the team responds and how they're playing. But it does seem like Hugh was one that came in and, created almost a healing, a rejuvenation for a lot of these guys. He's giving second chances to a number of guys, including a Josh Gordon, including a Jamar Taylor, who was sort of cast aside from the Miami Dolphins. There's other guys in that category. And, he has guys kind of believing again that, that they can win, that they're going to be good, that they're going in the right direction. He's got Joe Hayden feeling rejuvenated and excited. And, the vibe has been very good. But once again, it's easy for the vibe to be good when you're not playing football games yet.
We're spending a few minutes with Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns beat reporter for Cleveland.com. And yesterday, Mary Kay, when Mike and I were on the air, we saw a tweet from no less than Brian Billick, a former NFL head coach, saying that the Browns could potentially go 0-16. Did that have a ripple through Browns camp, and was there a response out there?
Yeah, you know what? That happened right before we sat down for Hugh Jackson's press conference yesterday. So I actually asked him the question, but it was in the context of, hey, nobody's giving you guys a chance. Nobody in heck thinks you have a prayer to win games this season. And then I threw it in there, including Brian Billick, who looked at the schedule and couldn't find a victory. And Hugh was kind of taken aback by that. And yes, he said, hey, that's not fair. These people aren't in our building. We're going to block out the noise and do our thing. And then later, apparently on the radio, Brian kind of shot back a little bit, and said, Hugh knows what I mean. And but actually, I don't think Hugh knows what he means. I think that Hugh Jackson was genuinely disappointed that Brian Billick would say something like that. When he's trying to put this team together and reboot the Cleveland Browns.
Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com. I know here most people going Eagles, but close. What's the feeling in Cleveland?
There are a number of people from around here picking the Browns to win this game. And I think it's because for a lot of people, it comes down to an experienced starting quarterback versus a rookie starting his first NFL game. And I think that's where a lot of people are going with that.
Did that change once Bradford was traded?
Yes. Okay. For a lot of people. In fact, it's given me pause. I have actually had to really think about what I think might happen, and here's why. Because if RG can have the opportunity to hit that long ball and score a couple of touchdowns, anything can happen. So I think that's what makes this a little bit intriguing. He's looked good enough in preseason. Now, again, some of that has come against practicing against a very young defense. The whole thing that you have to remember with RG3, the whole thing to look at with him, it's all about how he plays when he's under duress. That's what you need to really look at. And you know that Jim Schwartz is going to have him under duress as much as he can. He's going to blitz him from all different angles, and he's going to make it so that RG has to make very, very, very quick decisions, get rid of that ball very fast, and, just kind of speed up the game for him. He didn't play all last year. So lots of intriguing matchups in this game.
Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com with the outside view. Today, our look from Cleveland as the Browns are in town this Sunday right here on 97.3. Thank you, Mary Kay. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.